Hello, everybody. It's Ken Faulkner, and yes, I have another knife video, and it's another one that is something I shouldn't have bought, but I gave into my weak will, and I picked this one up. This is one of the ones like I'll be watching somebody on YouTube and find out that they're selling knives because they're trying to raise money for something, either personal stuff or buy more knives or whatever, whatever happens. And that kind of like tugs on my heartstrings a little bit, and it kind of pushes me over the edge of that, trying to resist the buying the knife thing. Yeah, that's probably not a good excuse, but it is an excuse, I guess. So another excuse. This knife is from a company that I have been looking at for a long time, heard so much about. I know you guys probably are in the same boat, just, how good these knives are. Pena knives. This is X series. I'm not that familiar. This is my first Pena. I kind of I have a list of knives and knife companies. So I have a wish list of knives. And then there's knife companies also that's kind of like on a list of ones that I want to get a knife from. And there's still quite a few out there. I mean, stuff like a company like Finch. I've been wanting to get a Finch for a while, and I just haven't pulled the trigger. It's just like, it's not like it's hard to get or anything. Some of these are a little more hard to get. So this one is not only a company I've been wanting to get, but it also is a pattern, a design pattern, the Sagai, I'm pronouncing it right? I don't know. That I've also been looking to get. And it's kind of that cool. I'm not an expert. Again, most anything I say, I could just misspeak or whatever, but I'm pretty sure that it's like a Japanese style. I've always been kind of a fan of Japanese culture, fan of samurais and ninjas, trained in some Japanese martial arts when I was younger. So, I mean, I always kind of was into that kind of thing. And so this style, this pattern in a titanium like this, definitely has always been something. I think it's Urban EDC that is where most of these are coming from. Maybe all of them, and maybe an exclusive. I don't know. I'm sure that a lot of you guys out there do know. This is the Pena Caballero. And I hadn't really heard of it before. I just saw it on a list of knives that were being sold. And I saw that it had this pattern and that it was a Pena. And that was good enough for me. And also to help out. So it's always a good feeling to help out. And this was Stella. She was, I bought stuff from her before. She's always super appreciative. This cool blade, so nice. And so yeah, it does have the M360 steel. This is from what I understand, it's a Riot made knife. It's just that nice titanium steel and this the whole look. Now the thing about this knife, which is different from most of my collection, is the size. It is not a huge knife. You can see as I'm holding it in my hand that it's like a 3.5 finger grip. And if you've been watching my channels, you know that I'm into more to like a 4-inch length on my handle so that I can get all 4 fingers on there and have a really good grip. It's not uncomfortable. It's just not as solid of a grip as I tend to like on a knife. But then it is a smaller knife. The blade is also smaller. But man, it's got some nice, that brushed satin with the flat up here and the swedge. It's just beautiful. I mean, you know, it's not just function for knives and me. It's aesthetics as well, and this definitely runs in that aesthetic side. It's got a nice pocket clip, milled titanium, really nice. I mean, just well done. So let's we'll get out the ruler and check out what we got. Blade sharpened edge is somewhere about 2 5/8, and about 2 3/4 is the overall blade length. So, you know, when I get sub 3, that's definitely something where I'm not as interested. It has to have something else. You know, it has to have something else. It has to be something as beautiful as this knife is, as well made. It's got good lockup. It's got nice and centered, as you'd expect. It is a front flipper only, but it works extremely well. I find that a tiny knife like this that's got a front flipper tends to be kind of snappy, you know. Whereas a lot of times a heavy blade will help with deployment and some types of deployments. But this, for a front flipper, it tends to like really snap out. I mean, it doesn't take a ton of detent to hold it back until that last minute. And you pop it out, and it's really good. So looking at the handle length here, as I say often, I'm looking at 4 inch as my go-to. This is more at 3.5 inch. So that's where you get that pinky hanging off the end a little bit as you're trying to grip the knife. It's not super narrow here. I'd say we're looking at about almost that 1/2 inch, a little under 1/2 inch for the thickness of the handle. So that does help it to not be too hard to hold on to. The Sagai High pattern in here does give you good texture. So yeah, it's a really cool knife. I'm gonna bring out some knives to compare it to. Yeah, because I don't have a ton of this stuff. So when I'm showing a knife like this, I kind of go through my collection, and it's kind of nice to go back and visit some of these knives that don't get carried quite as much, but I still do like. You know, it's not about always having one style of knife. When you're a collector, you really want to branch out. So I got a couple artisan cutlery knives here. This is the Andromeda, and these are also kind of a little fancy. I gotta put the clip side down on this one so I can get that fat carbon in there. Obviously, this is a much longer knife, so this does have that full length that I like, but it does kind of have that more narrow profile. Here's one that's closer, and I showed this recently on another video, the Shark, and it is also pretty fancy with that carbon fiber inlay and titanium. And this one is a little closer, but still not quite as small. And this one also kind of gets to the point where it feels a little small in hand. Part of it is you got the flipper tab, so it kind of pulls you back a little bit hand-wise on the handle, and very narrow this way, and maybe a little thinner this way, maybe a little thinner. But that's a similar kind of feel, size-wise. I also got some more common knives that you may or may not have in your collection. Just some basic brands. Civivi. This is the Mini Praxis. Although this one's, the ergonomics on this one is outstanding. Plus it has that forward finger choil, so you can really grip it. But it does have that similar size, a little taller blade. And then another one from Civivi that's very popular, the Elementum, which is considered by me to be small, by a lot of people as a like a mid-sized knife. But you can still see here that we're talking a little bit smaller than that knife. Sometimes it helps to switch it in front so you can kind of see the measurement there. A little bit smaller. I got another one from another company, Kaiser. It's the Feist. It also has that front flipper, and this is one that where I really kind of found that front flipper on a smaller knife is really snappy. It's got a kind of a cool feel to it. And here with the Feist, we are pretty much right there at that size. So if you have a Feist, if you ever handled a Feist, you really got the feel for the size of it. And I do enjoy this knife. It's just nice to kind of mix it up sometimes and just have a little smaller knife. And it does have some fidgeting fun to it that makes it good to have in the collection. And then a couple more that maybe if you don't have those other ones in your collection, these are ones that are probably more likely, although a little bit bigger. You got your Penguin, and you got your Rat Model 2, the smaller of the Rats. Close to the same size, kind of the same range, but the Caballero is definitely just a tiny bit on the smaller side. So I hope that gives you an idea of the size of the knife. Size is not all that matters. Some people will argue that, but just the fit and finish. This is just a really solid, well-made knife. Beautiful knife. Got that pattern. So yeah, I'm really happy to have this in my collection. My first Pinion, and I don't know, it might be my last because they do tend to have smaller. I think that's kind of why I don't really have so many Finches, because they tend to be a smaller knife. So it kind of makes it, even though I do want it, when I'm going to spend money, I tend to go with the bigger knives. But one day I will definitely have a Finch. I'll be doing a video on it and telling you about how I finally got a Finch. Yeah, same kind of story. Awesome knife. I'm so glad I got the opportunity to get this. I'm kind of, not proud of myself for spending money when I shouldn't have spent money, but that's the way it is. And I got more on the way. I got other things that I've spent money on. Funny thing is, I got a knife that I've actually purchased, and I told the guy that I bought it from, just said, "Hey, can you hold on to it for me for a while? So I want to spread this out." Then I also got a couple of pre-orders. You know how those things can be. So I got 2 pre-orders, and I think they're both coming next month. So that's gonna, because June is Blade Show. This whole long process of trying to not buy knives is about a month away. That's why we're getting into the Faulkner 5. I'll get those selected this weekend, and we'll start going into that series. And I'll have a few more to show you related to my lack of self-will regarding buying knives. Anyway, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you like that pattern. Pinion knives, they're quality stuff. I mean, it's really good. So check it out. I will see you guys on the next one.